Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on Candy Cloud. My name is Marjan Grissel. I'm a technical consultant at our CCS office in Centurion, a city in the Gauteng province of South Africa. It is my pleasure to present this webinar to you. Today, I will be clarifying the concept around our Candy Cloud solution and what it entails, as well as provide some insight around the benefits it can offer you and your company. Due to the large number of people logged into this webinar, we will not be able to answer any questions during the webinar. However, please submit your questions during this session via the provided function on screen. At the end of the webinar, we will collate these questions and send the answers to everybody that registered. Please note that the webinar will be recorded and you will receive a link to download it. A webinar is scheduled monthly, covering various Candy topics. Please register for all webinars, even though you may not be able to attend the live session, as this will entitle you to receive a recorded copy via email. Let's get started. Looking at our agenda for today, we are going to firstly clarify the term Candy Cloud. Why go Candy Cloud? Looking at the benefits offered by the solution. We are going to take a closer look at the Amazon Workspaces architecture, where AWS Data Centers are currently located around the globe, before we jump into a live demo, where we will be accessing the Ireland Data Center from here in South Africa, and closing off with some frequently asked questions to provide further clarity around the solution. First up on our agenda, what is Candy Cloud? So what is Candy Cloud? Candy Cloud is an online, highly customizable, fully managed, secure desktop as a service solution powered by Amazon Workspaces. This solution allows for Candy, both single and multi-user, and QTO, 2D and 3D drawings through Navisworks, to be deployed online and accessed from any location around the world. Access to Candy Cloud is obtained via the Workspaces app, alternatively through a web browser from any device, which includes Mac, tablets, and phones. Next on our agenda, we are looking at why go Candy Cloud and its associated benefits. Now, Candy Cloud is the same Candy software the construction industry knows and love, now merely with the option to be hosted in the cloud, enabling some additional benefits. To list a few of the major benefits provided by the solution, multi-user is accessible from any location around the world. Users are therefore no longer tied down to a LAN environment. This is also particularly beneficial for companies with a global presence, allowing their estimators around the world to work in collaboration on one project. Access to your Candy is possible from any computer via a browser. This includes Mac. As long as you have your login credentials at hand, you will be able to access your Candy jobs without having your personal laptop at your side. Candy Cloud eliminates the loss of data subsequent to a stolen or a damaged laptop. Your data remains safely in the cloud after such unfortunate instances. Through the Active Directory, additional security measures may be implemented as it allows for data to be locked down in the cloud environment, thus ensuring company masters and its IP remains within the company where it belongs. It should be noted, however, that this functionality is upon request only and may be subject to additional costs. Next up is a look at the Amazon Workspaces architecture. Now that we are more familiar with what Candy Cloud is and what it can offer, let's touch a little on the technical aspects. Each workspace is associated with a virtual private cloud and a directory to store and manage information for your workspaces and users. For security purposes, Amazon Workspaces employ a directory to authenticate users. We will take a closer look at this process in a minute. A broadband internet connection is required. Due to the license not residing on your local desktop, Candy will only be accessible when internet access is available. The network that the client device is connected to and any firewall on the client device must have certain ports open to the IP address ranges for various AWS services. Now, to clearly illustrate the Amazon Workspaces architecture, each user will access their dedicated workspace via their preferred platform or device. To do so, they will require their unique directory credentials to authenticate the user. The user's login information is then sent to an authentication gateway, which forwards the traffic to the directory for the workspace. After the user is authenticated, streaming traffic is initiated through the streaming gateway. And depending on the number of users deployed in the cloud, a server installation for data storage might form part of the CandyCloud specs. The high-level architecture of the Amazon workspaces satisfies the following critical requirements: data security and protection, which is facilitated by Amazon workspaces. It is scalable to your needs and it can grow with your business. The centralized databases enables all company project data to be stored in the same location. Multi-platform accessibility is facilitated, be it a tablet, phone, or a laptop. And very importantly, the Amazon Data Centers and its infrastructure complies with GDPR regulations. Moving on to the AWS Data Centers worldwide. This world map depicts the AWS data centers. The yellow circles indicate available data centers, whereas the green circles indicate planned data centers. The CandyCloud logos are positioned at those data centers where the Amazon Workspace service is available. Now, these are the data centers that facilitate CandyCloud. For those logged in from South Africa, as you can see, there is a planned data center to be erected here in Cape Town, South Africa in the near future. And now onto our live CandyCloud demo. Now, before we jump into a live CandyCloud demo, it should be noted that the purpose of this demo is to communicate the CandyCloud concept. We will therefore not be focusing on any specific functions within the Candy software itself. And as we perform this demo, keep in mind that the demo environment employed for this webinar is hosted in Ireland and it's accessed from South Africa. This may generate appreciation for the speed of the application. This experience may vary slightly depending on your line speed. We are now going to log into our Amazon Workspace via a browser. Now, it's important to note that the CandyCloud environment applies to named Candy licenses only, and it must belong to a real person. As you can see, we are using Chris Willifee. Just to provide our login credentials for this user to be authenticated. This demo workspace is set to shut down automatically after a period of non-use, so it may take a little longer to log in. This will not be the case for a real client though. There we go. Now, as you can see, this looks like an ordinary desktop as we are all used to. To simplify the concept of a workspace, think of it as being a laptop that resides in the cloud. We logged into this virtual desktop as we entered our login credentials just now. Candy is now installed on this virtual desktop as opposed to residing on your local machine. The Candy data also resides on this virtual desktop. This eliminates the loss of data should misfortune fall on your local machine. We will now open our Candy software from within this Amazon workspace to have a look at some of the benefits unlocked through the use of the CandyCloud environment. As mentioned earlier, this is the exact same software we all know and love. It is not a different Candy software that is deployed to the cloud. Let's access our multi-user company and see how this cloud environment deals with some of Candy's operations. For those of you who may not be familiar with Candy's multi-user company, this function in Candy allows for multiple users to have access to the same jobs. So apart from not having to send the latest version of a job back and forth via email, it also allows the users to simultaneously access the job and price it together. Should you require more info on this function, please contact your local CCS office in this regard. We are going to log into this job in single user mode for the moment. By logging in via single user mode, other users' access to this job will be restricted for my occupation. I will need to log out of this Candy job before other users will again have access to enter it. Just going to open our bill. And let's quickly price an item from the master. I'm going to go to the end of our bill, and let's open our master bill. And I'm just going to drag in a random item just to get the concept across. Let's also customize our quantity, and we can close our master and calculate our bill. Okay. I'm now going to open another instance of Candy, but this time using our Amazon Workspaces app. Let's first log out of single user mode on this job, just to allow other users who have been given access to this job to access it. Now this is the Amazon Workspaces app login page. We're going to use a different user. And let's just add in our password to get authenticated. And this is merely an alternative to opening a workspace from within a browser. You can also check whether the system is happy. It'll show you whether the internet connection is running well. And there we go. Now you might have noticed that this workspace opened up on Candy directly without us having to first access the Candy icon from the taskbar as we previously did. The reason for this is Candy was not closed when we previously visited this workspace before we closed down the workspace. It's important to be aware of this because it might impact other users when you log into a job using single user mode and you do not log out again before you close your workspace. So let's access our multi-user job. And we're going to access the same job in single user mode. And let's open our bill. Now for the scrolling test. Scrolling through a page gives you a fairly good idea of how quickly the page refreshes. So let's see how this cloud environment performs. As you can see, it's almost real time. I'm not sure what the webinar channel delay is like on your side, but for me, there's no noticeable difference between running Candy in this browser from on my local machine. So let's just log out of single user mode. I'm going to log back in using multi-user. Open our bill again. And let's place both of these side by side. I'm going to access the same job using user 1 and also just going to open our bill. Okay, so what's currently displayed on our screen is two instances of the same Candy job. User 1 on the left-hand side just added a new item a minute ago. So let's navigate there using user 2 to see if the item appears on his side too. And there it is, our newly priced item with our custom quantity. Let's add one more item before we conclude our multi-user exercise. Again, I'm just going to add a random item, and let's just give it a bill item. I'm going to calculate our bill and just move to a different page. Using user 1, we're going to navigate to the bottom of the bill, and there we go. It instantly appears on users 1 side. So remember, this is the same job being accessed by two different users. These users could have been located on opposite sides of the world and still have access to the same multi-user company. This great benefit is only relevant to Candy Cloud. When Candy resides on your local desktop, all users enrolled in a multi-user company requires access to the same LAN environment. They are therefore restricted to the same location. Now that concludes our multi-user demonstration. I would like to also do a quick QTO demo to see how our cloud environment deals with 3D drawings before we close off today's webinar. I'm going to just log out of single user mode with user 1, maximize user 2, and in multi-user mode, some of Candy's functionality is grayed out. QTO is one of them, so we need to log out of single user mode. And I'm going to log into a different job altogether, making sure we're in single user mode, and navigate to our QTO manager. Now, I've already created a package for this QTO demo. And let's just give QTO a few seconds to load in the background. Now, just to clarify the difference between a browser and the Amazon Workspaces app, it's just either or, whichever you prefer. So the app you need to download. If you're using your personal laptop, that might be the easiest. If you're trying to access your Candy using different laptops, the browser is always an alternative. So let's just open our bill and our drawing list to show that QTO does function as normal. And I'm going to open our 3D drawing. Now note that Navisworks is required, a valid Navisworks license, to open 3D drawings in QTO. Just loading all the information behind it. And we're not going to do any takeoffs for this demo. I just want to demonstrate how the environment deals with 3D drawings. So let's rotate it a bit. I'm going to do it slowly so that it can refresh on your side over the webinar channel. But as you can see, QTO functions as normal, and all of the functions will still be available like it would on your local machine. So we've now established that both Candy and QTO works perfectly well in our cloud environment. This concludes our live demo. Next on our agenda, some frequently asked questions. Now that we've painted a clear picture in your mind of what Candy Cloud is, let's address some of those questions that might have started to surface. What is an Amazon Workspace? Amazon Workspaces enables CCS to provision virtual cloud-based Microsoft Windows desktops for our Candy users, known as workspaces. Amazon Workspaces eliminates the need to procure and deploy hardware or install complex software. You can therefore quickly add or remove users as your needs change. Users can access their virtual desktops from multiple devices or web browsers. Who owns the data? The data always remains the property of the client. CCS does not have access to the client's data at any stage. Does Microsoft allow the use of an Office 365 license on the cloud? Yes. Users are allowed more than one Office 365 account. One may therefore be utilized as normal on your desktop, while the other resides in the cloud environment. This will allow Excel and the like to be accessible from within the cloud environment. Will you be able to work offline from your local desktop? No. The solution is a cloud-only system. Your Candy desktop application will no longer be in use once Candy Cloud is activated, as your license will be transferred to the cloud environment. In order for you to have access to both Candy Cloud and the standard Candy desktop application, 2 Candy licenses will be required. Could OneDrive be used in the workspace for data backups? Yes. If you have a OneDrive or a Dropbox account, these may be hosted inside the Amazon Workspace and used for data backups, size permitting, of course. Is there a price difference between the various AWS data centers? Yes, the price is dependent on the data center used and the infrastructure provisioned within the data center. Now, this effectively brings us to the end of today's webinar. We've covered all items listed on our agenda. And I'd like to thank you for your time. We trust that the term Candy Cloud no longer remains a foreign concept. Please remember to email your local CCS office if you want to know more about this Candy Cloud solution or if you require a proposal in this regard. We will keep you informed of the next webinar, and remember, if you are unable to join at the scheduled time, please still register. You will receive the recording, which you can then watch at your own leisure. Enjoy the rest of your day. Till the next webinar, goodbye for now.